Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Miss Emma D and I've been doing YouTube for a few years now, and I do all different topics including home education, days out in the UK, other like educational things about health and different things like that. And this is going to be another skin update video for the ones that are following along with my journey with TSW, which is topical steroid withdrawal, if no one knows what that stands for. It's not much known at the minute. There's a lot more people coming out. The reason it's not been known before is because basically it's a side effect of using steroid creams for a long time, and people are getting to the point now where they've been using it for years and years and years, and I think the world is shifting now for a lot of people, not all people, but the world is shifting where we don't want to use things from Big Pharma, and we don't want to keep going to the doctors for getting a pill for this and a pill for that. So a lot of people have come off the medication, creams, and what they were originally given for, they can be given for various things. I mean, some people have been given it for acne. It's not really meant for that. It's meant to be a short-term cream for dry skin. But to be honest, there's a lot of creams out there that you can buy from the supermarket, online, or a natural business that will work just as well on your eczema. So never ever ever put this cream anywhere near you or your children or your babies, because the doctors do give it to babies, they give it to children, they give it to the elderly, all sorts. So if you want to know the story from the beginning, then I have a playlist just for my TSW update videos, so you can have a nosy on there. But yeah, so I'm basically going through this, and even though I don't look amazing or how I want to, I just want to document this, not only for myself to see how I've improved, but I want to help people, because not only are there a lot of people going through this, thousands and thousands and thousands, I'm in just one group on Facebook because I can't handle any more groups, because it's so upsetting to see people coming on and discussing what they're going through. Some people have been suicidal with it. I mean, I know exactly where they're coming from. In the beginning stages, it's so, oh, you're just in this hole that you don't feel like you can get out of, and you're trapped in your own body, and it's horrible. So I'm making these videos to help people. I want to give tips. I want to get through it and be able to say, you will make it to the end. Here's what I did, this, because that's the only way we're going to learn about it, by supporting each other and listening to each other who've been through it, because doctors know nothing, which I will be discussing. Not sure we'll be possibly like touching on it in this video, but a lot's gone on since I last did my last video. So don't know when I did the last video, fair few months ago. I think it was when I was waiting for my blood results back, and I went to collect my blood results. I think it was in August, and there was very, very extreme high inflammation, but I got told to leave the doctor's surgery because my 10 minutes was up. I was upset, I was crying, I just want answers, I want help, and I've come to realise now that you're not going to get it from them. They have no interest whatsoever in helping you. Zero, absolutely zero. So I'm going to talk about a few bits, but I might do a separate video as to something else which I'm going to want to discuss about doctors and things like that. But today I'm going to talk about kinesiology. I think that's how you say it. So basically, back in possibly April, May maybe, I got a recommendation to have kinesiology, which is private. You have to pay for it yourself. They don't do it on the NHS, and they are all trained in it. I actually found out from the lady, because she actually used to work for the NHS. They are all trained very, very slightly in this, what would you call it, this technique, let's call it technique, but they don't use it in the NHS because it'd probably cure more people then, wouldn't it? And they don't want that. They want you to keep coming back for the medicine, coming back. I mean, you are a customer. You are not a patient, you are a customer. Remember that. So remember, when you book an appointment to the doctors, or you go to A&E, or you go to hospital, you are a customer. And they don't want customers to leave, do they? They want you to keep coming back. So I decided to book with this lady. Didn't know her from Adam. Found her on Facebook, local to me, about nearly an hour away from me. Didn't know anything about her, never spoke to her before, nothing. All I know is that she offered this kinesiology. So I got there. She had a little like treatment room on the side of her house, and it was a lovely little area, very relaxing, lots of crystals. She knew about chakras and things like that. She was also a medium. Now, whether you believe in that or not, that is entirely up to you. I personally do. If you... I get a feeling off people, so I've had medium things before, as in like I've met a lot of them, I've been to fairs, I've had tarot readings, I've had crystal readings and all that. Whether you believe or not, whatever, that's fine. I didn't know she was a medium, so as soon as I got there, I literally walked in the door, and I thought it was just going to be like, do you know what I mean, lie on the couch and I'll do the kinesiology. But she was also like a therapist kind of person, and it was really good because I got to speak to her. I was there 4 hours, and for how much I paid, like, that is very good. Do you know what I mean? That was 4 hours. I felt like I was listened to. I felt like we could go into detail more of things like illnesses and all this stuff about the skin. And even though she feels that certain things affect the skin, she is in this mindset of also, she's like 50-50, that it is to do with your mind as well, which I do believe when you are going through something. Part of it is the mind as well. And I will always say, that's why I'm encouraging people to think positive, to think, be hopeful, think, do you know what I mean, this isn't going to last forever. It will go away. Honestly, I obviously have to tell myself this as well, because I'm on, I think, what am I on now? I think I'm on month 14 now, and I'm still quite poorly with it, and in pain as well. So, but I have improved. So that's why I will say to people, I think when you feel good inside, good stuff happens, and things happen with your body, and when you stress, things happen. It's like it's like when you get stressed sometimes. And I mean, I used to have a lot of, for instance, for example, just off the top of my head, I used to have a lot of problems with my ex communicating with him, and we went through years of arguing back and forth, and it was petty stuff looking back now. But I always had this patch of eczema here, well, eczema, whatever you want to call it, patch of red skin here that wouldn't go. And then as soon as I got him out of my life, it went. So what some might say to that is it's the throat chakra, which is something to do with communication. Because once he was out and I didn't see him again and didn't speak to him again, my neck was fine. So it's things like that. But I am under the impression as well that food and things you put on your skin will affect it as well. So yeah, so kinesiology, I'm going to read a bit off my phone, because it's I understand it, but I couldn't be able to put it in words for you. So you might have even heard of it. If you have, then comment down below. So kinesiology, it's a huge topic that works with a variety of tools and techniques, but what seems to have stuck in many people's minds is how brilliant it is at pinpointing food intolerances and working with allergies. It was made in the 1960s, and a Dr. George Goodhart discovered that muscles are communicating with organs via nerves and the spinal intervertebral. So yeah, so everything's connected, and he said it creates an electrical circuit around your body, and if something is imbalanced in that, then the circuit can't be completed, which is then where intolerances come from and things like that. So in simple terms, I didn't really know what was going to happen, to be honest, when I went there. I'd looked at a few videos on YouTube, but I thought I'm just going to go just see what it is and whatnot. So I went there. She talked to me like for an hour before. We talked about history of the skin, history of my life, different things that have happened in my life, eating habits, diet, what diet I've been on, because I was a vegetarian from the age of 19, I think, and then I went to veganism, and then I'm now back to basically, I don't label myself, I'll just eat. If I fancy something, I'll eat it. So yeah, we went through all that. She also said that my nan was there, and then obviously went into things like that, because that can also be blockages for people and different things like that, whether, do you know what I mean, you might be stuck, your body's stuck and like needs to release this energy of maybe talking to a therapist or speaking to a loved one that's passed or something like that. So yeah, she went through a bunch of stuff, and then she got these vials out. So she had boxes and boxes of these little vials, and they all had something in them. She had about 200 of them, possibly over 200, and she read each one out to me, because she said there's no point me testing you for things you don't eat, because we're basically just wasting time. So she went through things that I do have. I mean, there was random stuff on there that you probably, it was very specific, like you like she'd have to ask everyone, because some people have got different diets. So for instance, she said to me, do you eat, I don't know, plums or something? I don't think I've ever had a plum. So to speed up the testing, she just read them out to me and put them to one side if I do eat them. And then I lay on the couch, bed thing, and she basically put them in different areas of my body, these little vials in glass, little glass like bottle things, and she wouldn't tell me what was written on it, so I relaxed, closed my eyes, and she'd put it on and she'd say, how'd you feel? And at first I thought, I'm not going to feel, am I going to feel anything different from you putting something on me? But I've got an open mind. That's the first thing she asked me when I walked in. Have you got an open mind? I said, yep, I am open as anything. Do you know what I mean? I will try everything. I will listen to everything. Do you know what I mean? I don't mind. I'm free, open, whatever. Go for it. Do what you want, because I need to get better. So she put each vial on, like she'd put one on my chest, tummy, sometimes the leg, different areas. It was mainly them, where the chakra was, whether that was something to do with it, possibly. She blends it all together, which I thought was good. So she putting different things on, didn't tell me what they were. Then she'd say, how'd you feel? And then I did start to feel different. So she'd put something on and I'd be like, feel fine. Then she'd put something else on and I'd instantly get pain in my head, like pulsing. So she'd write that down, like headache, whatever. So she went through all these vials, got to one vial, which none of the others had this impact. And you're probably thinking, what's this got to do with it? Well, I'll tell you later. So she put a vial on me and I instantly started bursting out crying. I don't know what it was. I just felt it coming in my throat, and then I just cried. And I was upset, genuinely upset, like I was a kid. And it was weird, and I was like, what the hell is happening here? Because first of all, I try not to cry. I barely cry, to be honest. I think I've cried more this year than in my whole life with this healing and whatnot. So yeah, so I burst out crying, and she was like, wow. She was like that. And I said, have you ever had that before? And she said, I have, but not with this particular item, food item. And I was like, right, okay. But she says, I'm writing notes and I'll tell you at the end. So it got to the end, and she goes, do you want to know what that one was? And I said, yeah, obviously. And she said it was codfish. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And she says, well, it could be anything. It could be an emotional thing. Something's happened in the past involving cod, whatever that means. Or something relating to a family member that happened years ago, or something like that. And I was racking my brains and I couldn't think of anything. And she said, basically, your body doesn't like it. And when she was putting vials on, and then I was getting a headache, she was saying it's not necessarily allergies, because a lot of people don't believe in allergies. They think that it's something else in the body that's blocking this thing that you're saying you're allergic to. Obviously, I do believe in some stuff, like, I mean, there's severe things that people can be allergic to. I believe in allergies, I think, because we can't all, do you know what I mean? All our bodies aren't the same, so maybe someone's got something in their body that reacts to something or whatever. But I think there's a lot of people who go, oh, I've got this allergy, I've got that allergy, and they haven't actually got allergies. They're just saying it because they either don't like the item, or when they've had it, they've had a tummy ache. But that could be anything. That could be something in the tummy reacting with the food. So you'd have to get your gut cleansed and sort that out, and then see if you could eat the item again. So so what she had a list of basically what I can eat, what I've got to cut out fully, and what I can have sometimes. So the list that I've got to cut out fully, she said, I recommend you just cutting all that out. Don't ever have it once. Don't ever have it. Don't have it for a while. And because that was on that list, there was like something severe had happened. So it was like me bursting out crying, or something had happened with my arm. So another thing she made me do was put my arm out, and then she'd hold the vial, well, put the vial on my chest, and then I'd have to push against her arm to see if there was like resistance. And the ones that I couldn't resist to, she'd wrote that down as your body doesn't like it, because it was weird, it was making my arm weak. She'd put a certain one on and I'd be able to hold my arm like really strong, and she wouldn't be able to push it down, which meant that my body was strong enough to take that food. But then she'd put something else on and my arm would just drop, and I'd have no strength in my arm. So that was weird, like, because I was open to anything, but I thought, really? Is that gonna happen? And then when my arm started flopping down and I had no strength in my arm through certain vials that were being put on my chest, I was like, God, that's weird. So yeah, so I ended up with two lists of basically avoid all the time, your body doesn't like it, and then there was a list that she said you could have sometimes. So that might have been where my arm dipped a bit, but I could still push my arm up. And I think she did it with, did she do it with the leg? I think she might have done it with the leg and stuff like that. And yeah, so I mean, there was quite a few food items, but she was the same as me, because she said it doesn't mean that you won't be able to eat it ever again. She said that it's just because you're going through this, which if you are going through this, you'll know what I mean. So basically, the body is that inflamed through trying to heal, that it's not like in any foods, or you'll find that certain foods are aggravating it more. It doesn't mean you're allergic to it, it's just that your body's having trouble processing it while you're going through this. That is what it means. So you get people going, oh, I'll never be able to eat this again and that again. You probably will. Do you mean, unless you've got a really like proper allergy, you will. Don't worry. I truly believe that if you get the inflammation down, go for a blood test every 6 months, demand a blood test, and just say, I want to see if the inflammation's going down, because then that'll be a positive sign that you are healing. It might only go down a bit, but that's still the right direction that you want to get down. I think it's between 0 and 100 or something like that. Mine's currently at 2,400. It's the IgE result. So I came away with a list. Right, so to avoid, and to be honest, when I read these, some things made a lot of sense. Like, I was like, oh, right, okay. So for instance, these are the avoid: oat milk, MSG, cow's milk, apples, cow's cheese, cod and tomato. Now, I changed from soya milk to oat milk about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, when I started reading about soya milk and saying that it wasn't the best, and I didn't want to keep having these oils. And I mean, when I use milk, it's only in my cups of tea and things like that. I don't really eat cereal or anything. So I swapped to oat milk, and I thought, oh yeah, oat milk, that's so much better and so much healthier for you. And I'm having that now, and I'm not having the oils from the soya milk and all this business. And that was one of the things that came up to avoid, and I thought, if all this time it was the bloody oat milk. Do you know what I mean? Because I'll have a few cups of tea through the day, and I'll put quite a bit of oat milk in it, and I just thought, that is just typical. And I mean, I don't know, like, you hear things about oats saying they're not the best, so you shouldn't have them and whatnot, but then you read other stuff saying that they're good for you and they fill you up and this. So it's just, there's so many things, and my mind is just like about to explode, because I'm like, what's good for you, what isn't good for you? And that what took me down the path to actually give up all these diet lifestyles, because I was just like, do you know what, I'll just, if I eat something and it makes me feel good, then I'll eat it. So things on the sometimes list. So she said I could have these things about possibly once a week or once every 2 weeks. But she did recommend for the first month to cut out everything on these 2 lists, because she said then your body can reset and you can start introducing stuff again to see what happens. Because it is all basically experiments at the minute with this condition and with this thing what I'm trying. So the things I can have sometimes are sugar, prawns, potatoes, cow's milk yogurt, garlic, beans, hemp, butter, ghee butter, onions and cucumber. Now, that was another thing that popped into my head. So that was another thing that stood out to me in this list, was like the butter, ghee, and things like that. So I changed from cooking with oils and things like that, I changed to ghee, because I've been looking into stuff and researching, and then they were like, oh, ghee, you should cook in ghee or coconut oil. Now I know coconut oil, I'm surprised that didn't come up actually, because I can't have coconut oil. I can't have anything coconutty, it's vile. Coconut milk's not too bad, but if I took, like, people go, oh, put coconut oil on your skin, no chance. That would flare my skin up and make me itch, that I'd be in so much pain. Or they'll say use it in your cooking, and then if I ever got any on my lips would swell. So I was like, oh, I'll change to ghee. And then it was just weird how that came up, because I was like, well, I've been cooking in that. And then I was shocked that gluten didn't come up, or eggs. And I said to her, like, if I have a sandwich, I didn't realise, like, I was sitting there racking my brains of, like, because she was saying, what do you eat? And it's like, when somebody asks you what you eat, I don't know about anyone else, but I'm like, what do I eat? And I don't eat much anyway, so I was like, well, I'll eat this, this, this. But then when I was saying to her, oh, I'll have an egg sandwich, but eggs and bread didn't come up. But I'm thinking, eats the egg and bread. I kept thinking to myself, I bet I've got a gluten allergy or an egg allergy. But it wasn't. It was the ghee that I was cooking the egg in, and it was the butter that I was buttering the bread with. So the bread and the egg had nothing to do with it. It was what I was putting on the bread and cooking the egg in. So eggs and bread didn't come up. And it's the same with garlic as well. I've been reading a lot about garlic lately, and apparently we're not even meant to ingest that. It's to flavour things, and it's to use medicinally and things like that. And I love garlic. I mean, I make my own curries. I put garlic in everything. And then it came to me garlic bread, because I was thinking, oh, gluten, I can't have garlic bread. Then I was thinking, actually, what's on the garlic bread? There's butter, which came up, and garlic. So it wasn't the bread. So, I mean, not that bread's the best, but I do enjoy bread. And if we go on holiday, I love having things like that, like croissants, and you do, don't you, pizzas and things like that. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of dairy that came up. I have had issues with dairy. I'm not a fan of dairy, to be honest. I wouldn't recommend anyone having it in the diet, to be honest, or very, very minimal, because it's just, do you know what I mean? We're not meant to ingest it, I don't think. I mean, why would we want another animal's milk in our bodies? There's no need. So yeah, then with the lists. So what I did was I cut them out. I did cut them out. I tried to cut most out. I mean, some on there. I mean, potatoes, for instance. It's like, how the heck do you cut potatoes out of your diet? I mean, do you know what I mean? These mash, roast potatoes, salad potatoes, chips, all different stuff. So I did cut right down, but I did tell her, like, I don't know if I'll be able to do this fully, because I've cut so much out of my diet that it's well, I've had problems in the past with restricting food. So I talked to her a bit about that, because I've never really talked to anyone about that professionally. And obviously she said to me, well, obviously you don't want to cut like loads and loads of stuff out, because you'll end up eating nothing, and then that'll bring back like issues from what I've had in the past, which it has done. Sneaking in here and there, you know what it's like if you've got anything like that, or you've had problems with food. It's an absolute ball ache, I'll tell you that much. It's constantly on your mind all the time, and you can't switch it off. And I mean, you have to eat every day or you'll die. So it's very hard. It's a constant like battle, thinking about it and then trying to switch off. It's very difficult. So I did see improvement. She also did Reiki on me. I don't know if anyone's had that done. That was quite nice, relaxing, because again, she was really good, because she brought in the holistic side of it, and she do you know what I mean, I had a bit of Reiki done and different things like that, and that might have shifted some kind of energy in me or something, or I just felt better for talking to someone for 3-4 hours. So even if you don't go for this kinesiology, if you can find a therapist, preferably a holistic one, that you can just talk to, because yes, they sit there and listen, and they ask you questions, and sometimes you just want someone to just say, how do you feel about that? How do you feel when someone does this? How do you feel when your skin does this? Do you know what I mean? How do you feel about eating habits? You just want someone to be interested. And I mean, yes, you might have family and friends who seem interested and whatnot, but it's not their fault. They wouldn't know what to ask, and they wouldn't know the pain you're going through unless they're living with you. Even if they're living with you on a day-to-day, I mean, there's times I come and sit in my room and I just want to sit on my own. I don't want my family me constantly saying, oh, this is hurting, that's hurting, because I don't want to get them down, and I don't want to keep on and on about it. I mean, it's been 14 months now. I'm sick of it myself, so God knows what everyone else feels. So I think if you can go to a therapist, and whether you can chat to them for a couple of hours, or you can have something done like Reiki or some kind of healing on the body, then I would recommend that. So when I came out of the appointment, she basically said to give her an update in whatever, 30 days or something like that. And I did feel a lot better. It took a while. I started cutting things out. I straight away cut the oat milk out because I thought, that's weird how that's come up. So I had to go back to soya milk, but that's another story. We'll get onto that another day. So yeah, I felt better. I felt more confident. I felt like there was some kind of release. I did cut most of the foods out, and my skin started to improve a lot, and I felt better. I started improving every week and I felt better. Then it got to a couple of weeks before Christmas. I felt good. I was getting a little bit more sleep. Skin was feeling good. It wasn't feeling tight. I was able to moisturise every other day, and the redness has gone down and all that. And I thought, oh, it must be really working now. Bearing in mind, I had eaten the things on the list. Not very often, but I had ate them and nothing had happened. So I thought, So then, see where I've just scratched my face there and it's left a mark. Oh, the joys. So, we were driving back one day. We'd had a long day out somewhere, and I said, oh, does everyone fancy some fish and chips? And they were like, yeah. And I hadn't had that codfish since I'd gone to that appointment with her. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought, I've had everything else on the list. I've been fine. Anyway, I ate this cod, and within an hour, I was so itchy, like I couldn't stop itching my face, my neck. My body was pretty fine, because my body has pretty much healed. It's still a bit itchy here and there, but that has healed a lot. But the face, my God, it was itching, it was hot. I felt like my throat was closing up. I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? I tried to go to bed. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't get sleep. Then the next day, it was still hurting me. Then it started feeling like it did a few months ago. And I said to my partner, I said, it's that cod. It's got to be that cod. So I was like, now I know to definitely not have it ever again, because I'm still pretty much in that flare. I mean, we're in the end of January now, and I had that fish, I think, a few weeks before Christmas. And then that's put me in like a flare, what they call it. So I've been like this now, again, like I was in the beginning, for about just over a month. And it's really annoying. I mean, I'll show you my face now. It's so tight. It doesn't matter if I put moisturiser on or not. The skin will just suck the moisturiser up and I'm dry again. So there's no point. Like, people keep saying use this cream and that cream. It's not the cream that's the issue. It's the fact that my skin needs to start making its own oils again. That's what's up with it. It doesn't know how to make oils. It's dried up like a prune. And we keep putting moisturiser on it, and it's not learning. So you do have to go through this tight, dry phase to see, like, do you know what I mean, to get the oils back. There's no oil whatsoever. I mean, I've never known anything like it. I haven't had a zit for God knows how long, because there's no oil production. It's so weird. It's like, wow. I used to get all spots on my chin here, and I don't get any now, because there's no oil whatsoever. There's literally no oil. I can't even feel anything. Like, there's nothing, it's just dry. So yeah, if you can see it, you can just stretch my skin. Can you see how dry that is there? It's just stretching. And the neck is quite sore as well. And that, I think, is down to cod. So I won't be doing that again. So there is a few other stuff going on behind the scenes. So there is complaints with the doctor. I'm not happy with the service I've had over the past 12 months. Well, I've had no service, to be honest, if I'm going to be honest with you. I've had no help for my mental health. I've had no help for my skin. I'm still on a waiting list for light therapy and the patch test. Still waiting for that. I have had to go to an appointment, even though when I sent my complaint in to the doctor, I mean, I will go through this on another video because I think it's very important that we need to stop leaving stuff and make complaints, because it ain't good enough, to be honest. It really isn't good enough. These people suicidal, these people not getting help, and they're just left on their own. And they need complaints to be pouring in before they actually do anything. Because as soon as I put my complaint in, they were straight on the phone to me. Oh, we want you in. We want you in the doctors. We want to see how you are. Da, 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 da. I thought, well, I've been to the doctors and you weren't bothered then. So just because I've brought up a complaint now, you're all nicey nice and want to help me. Well, help. So I'll talk about that on another video. I don't want this going on for too long. I'm sorry it's gone on for too long, but yeah. Hopefully it'll help someone with finding out if they have got allergies or treatments that they can have and options. So yeah, so there's a lot going on. There's also a PIP claim in place because I got to the point where I couldn't do my self-employed job, which I do, and I wasn't entitled to anything to help me, which again, I don't know what they expect people to live on. So somebody suggested a PIP claim, so that is going through at the minute. Whether I'll get it or not, that's a different story, so I will come on to speak about that. Thank you so much. I know it's been a long video, but I hope that it's give you some hope and some ideas to what you can go and have done. Seriously, just be open to everything. Even if it's someone saying, oh, try this cream and whatnot, be open to it, but don't. What I will say, if people are offering you like creams and things like that, just try a little bit on your skin. I mean, I'm silly and I just rub it all over and see what happens, but I wouldn't recommend that because I've had quite a few flares from doing that. So just, if they say they've got this cream and whatnot, just try it on a small area. But yeah, try and be open to everything, trying new things that you've never tried before, so like this kinesiology, light therapy, even therapy, just talking therapy and things like that. Just give it a go, because you never know how it'll make you feel and how it'll react with your body and energies and things like that. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you keep well, keep going, and I'll see you in the next video.